that the Relive products are nutritional supplements. They're not intended to diagnose or treat or cure any disease or medical condition, but they've been designed to provide optimal, balanced nutrition. And when we put this kind of nutrition in people's bodies, some very wonderful things are happening all across the United States and now many places around the world as Relive is international company.
My name is Annie Coates, and I live in Logan, Utah. That's almost to the Idaho border. And I'm 67 years young, and I have 20 grandchildren.
Wow.
That are the joy of my life. When Relive found us in 2005, I was pretty scared because my husband is type 2 diabetic, and he had a lot of black on his toes and his feet. And usually when they start having black on their toes and their feet, they start cutting things off. And he had high blood pressure and high cholesterol, and he would get pneumonia every year. Now his feet just look rosy and pink. The doctors cannot believe how good his feet are. So it's just been a blessing in our life with him. I had a neck injury. When I was a younger gal, I dove into a swimming pool. We were teaching younger children, and they had taken a lot of water out of the pool. And I do a swan dive into the pool, land on my head. Grateful I wasn't paralyzed, but I woke up with a neck injury every day of my life. I always had headaches, and I didn't see clear. My friends all called me Magoo. Within 4 months, I never went back to the chiropractor. I've never had another headache, and I see clear. And I had horrible varicose veins. I have 5 children, and they were all 9 and 10 pounds, and the doctors told me I wanted 6 children. The doctor said no more, but I had such unsightly varicose veins, and I'd even had them stripped in the 80s, and they just came back with a vengeance. And one day I was out to my daughter. She has a swimming pool, and I looked down at my legs, and I go, where are my veins? And they had all disappeared. And so I can't tell you the time on that. I just wasn't watching for that. But it was just unreal that they've all disappeared and they have never come back. I had, my mother had horrible osteoporosis. She had a big lump on her back. And one day I was sitting in a bone density, and the nurse said, what are you doing? And I said, why? And she said, 2 years ago, and this has been a few years ago, she said, your bones were in the soft range, and now they're off the charts on the hard. Wow. And I don't have any trouble getting down and playing with my grandchildren. I run 5Ks. I've run some fun runs with my grandchildren, and I don't hurt. I don't feel, any pain. And if something happens to me, I just throw in a third shake. But usually I just take 2 shakes of the basics, and that's all I do. I had horrible seasonal allergies, and they've gone away. I had lumps in my breast that they were cutting out all the time. And I went and had an ultrasound, and you could see about 15, 20 lumps in each breast. And I've never had another lump. To me, that's just awesome. Amazing. I have we had a little autistic grandchild. He just turned 8 this last couple of weeks, and he is doing so well. They've put him in the Chinese immersion program that they have in the school. He's very smart. He's funny. He's loving, and it's just been a delight to watch that young man. My husband with these capsules, my husband the other night told me that he had a sore on his bottom. So we just opened the capsules and made a little paste, and that stuff is just wonders. We love those capsules. And I noticed that if I do what I'm supposed to do, take the 4 capsules a day and my product, I can keep my weight down. It's just been a blessing in our lives.
You've had quite a wide variety here of results.
Quite a wide variety.
My goodness. Now, with Brant, with his diabetes, what do you see with his sugar numbers? Well,
he keeps them down pretty good in the hundreds now. He still takes an insulin shot once a day, but he was taking 6 a day.
So he's gone from 6 to 1.
He's gone from 6 to 1.
And how high were his sugars before relapse? How high could they get?
Oh, they were always in the 300s.
Okay.
So now he doesn't want to get them too low because then he goes the other way. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's grateful to have pink toes.
Yes, we are very
black
grateful.
toes. Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, Annie,
Yes,
thank you for coming on. We certainly
You're welcome,
appreciate
and
you
thanks for
sharing,
asking
and
me.
you've had some wonderful results. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Well, next we head up the coast of Florida. We're going to get to talk with Libby Kelly, and Libby, we'd love you to come on and share. Can't hear you yet, Libby. If you hit *6 earlier, then you may need to do that again. Libby, I can't hear you. So I take
Chuck Delac. I'm from Chesterton, Indiana. I've been on the Real Live products for, since 1995. But I wanted to share something that was really amazing. 2 years ago, I went into the hospital for surgery. And somehow, while I was under, I contracted meningitis and lapsed into a coma, which lasted about 21 weeks. And somewhere along the process, after being airlifted to a different hospital, because the first hospital just wasn't going to the point where I was unconscious. I was unconscious for 3 weeks, and I was airlifted to a different hospital, and somewhere along this line, my mom thought of this idea that since the Real Live products had been such a godsend for me throughout my life since I started on the products, that maybe, just maybe, the products might work with me even though I was in a coma. So what she did was secretly disconnect the feeding tube that I was connected to, and she somehow mixed the shake and put it in my feeding tube. And I had been unconscious for, like I said, 20 weeks prior to this event. 13 days into putting the Real Live products into my feeding tube, I woke up a week before Christmas, and that was 3 years ago. And all the doctors that checked me out said there was no hope for him. You know, my mom had even went so far as to get my siblings to come in to say goodbye to me one last time. And after 13 days, twice a day, every day for those 13 days, I woke up. No brain damage. They sat me up in a chair. The day after I woke up, they took the breathing tube out of my throat. 2 days after I woke up, and I walked out of the hospital with no brain damage within about a week and a half from a 21-week coma.
Wow. That's just a powerful, powerful testimony. I mean, how does your mom feel? I mean, oh my goodness.
You know, how do moms feel, about their kids? She was very happy, and, I wouldn't trade Real Live for anything, and I don't think either would she, because I've been thinking about this for going on 3 years that, if it wasn't for Real Live, if I would have never met Kathy O'Loughlin, I probably, I would have been dead. I literally would have, because I was born with spina bifida. And when I met Kathy, I was not doing well. I was in pain. I had weighed, when I met Kathy, I only weighed like 60 pounds at the age of 30. So, and I was dying. I was literally dying. And so Relive has brought me back.
So
I'll be
you
forever
were 60
grateful.
pounds, and so what are you now?
I weigh 120 pounds, but that was like I said. Yeah, but
60 pounds to 120 pounds.
Yeah, and what was happening is that I was vomiting. I vomited at least 20 times a day. I couldn't couldn't keep food down at all. Period. Absolutely no food at all. What was happening is that my body was filling up with the fluid that was draining from my brain, and I had a couple strokes in that period of time, and so, I fought back. I mean, Relief has really brought me back. But I just wanted to share that one point about the being in a coma, because Relief is just amazing.
Well, Chuck, I mean, your story is definitely one of those amazing ones that we hear from time to time. Both what happened to you in the coma and with spina bifida, your turnaround to beating all the vomiting and getting your life back. Very, very powerful story, Chuck. Thank you. Thanks so much for coming on.
No problem.
Appreciate it. Okay, we're going to check in and see if Libby was able to connect with us. So, Libby, we'll try that again. So, Libby, if you're on, we'd love you to share. All right, I don't hear. Patty, maybe you can give Libby a jingle for me.
Okay, my name is Marie Wojak, and I live in New Orleans, Louisiana. And before Relive, I had dry eyes real bad. They were talking about surgery. I had a leg problem. I had very high cholesterol and triglycerides. I was on allergy medication for 6 years and shots. And once I started taking the Relive products, all these things disappeared. And my cholesterol and triglycerides were coming down for the first time. So I was very excited. And then as things progressed, they discovered that I had a heart problem, which I was surprised because I had no heart pain, and I just would get a little winded when I was walking, and I figured that was because I wasn't walking that much. But they, so the doctors said that I needed a angiogram, and I was, like I said, totally surprised. Talked to a lot of different people throughout the country who had heart problems, which was like 16 times more serious than I could even imagine even having, since I didn't even have any pain. And they encouraged me to take more products since now I had a problem, and add products especially for the heart, which I did do. And they did the angiogram, and they discovered that I had two blockages. One was 80%, and the other was 100%. They broke up the 80% blockage. They put a stent in, and they noticed at that time that my body had grown a vessel to nourish the area that was blocked, and that was probably why I wasn't having any pain. So I took the Relive continuously, as I was told, 4 times a day, 3 to 4 times a day instead of just the 2 times a day. And I put them off for a month. I talked to the doctor, and he said, well, you do have that vessel that's grown, but you know you have to have this, so don't wait too long. And I said, well, I do want to heal up from the first one. But in reality, what I wanted was to continue taking the Relive and to see what happened. So after 2 months, they went back in to do the next one, break up the 100% blockage. And they had discovered that now my body had grown 3 more vessels. So it was 4 vessels altogether that was nourishing the area that was blocked. And it wasn't a small blockage, which I thought it was. It was a huge blockage. And later the doctor told me that he had figured that he was going to have a procedure of 2.5 hours. But he also discovered as he was going to do the procedure that my body was growing a vessel through the body, through the blockage itself. And so what he did is he used that pathway to break the blockage up in 20 minutes instead of the 2.5-hour procedure that he was planning to do. And he was very excited when he saw me after it was all over with. And he described what happened. He even drew me a picture of what had gone on and where the blockages were and where, and it was just absolutely amazing. And he said he was the teacher of this procedure at Tulane Medical, and he said, I'm going to be showing this to my students. And so I mentioned Relive, but he was not listening at all to that. So then I asked him, I said, Doctor, what do you attribute this to? And he said, oh, that's easy. He said, it's just the body healing itself.
Okay.
and I knew that it was the body healing itself with the Relive products, and I was so thankful to the Lord, and the Relive. And also, I did have osteopenia, and I was diagnosed with that in 2005. Just before Katrina, I had my test, and they said I had this. And then last year, when I was in 12, I went to the same clinic that had the first diagnosis and had another test done, and they said, "Oh, you don't have that." So that's another blessing, and Relive continues just to help me, and it's a work in progress. And I said, I'm just so grateful I found these products. I think they're the most fabulous, and I could not do without them because it is helping me tremendously.
That's awesome. And you've also turned around and shared Relive with a number of people and built a business.
Yeah, well, that's what's so wonderful about Relive is that it's just really helping other people, and it's sharing, and to see them getting better is really great. And so I just shared with others who shared with others who shared with others. And it's just amazing at how so many people have been helped in very many different ways. And so it's a wonderful business. People that are part of the Relive company are just absolutely fabulous. Everyone just is helping other people. It just becomes a part of the company. People helping other people, which is I love doing, and I love to see people get better. That's the biggest thing.
Great. Well, thank you. I appreciate
You're very welcome.
Thanks. Well, Libby's trying to get in. We're going to give it another shot here. Libby, let's see if we can do it.
Can you hear me, Bill?
I can. I guess I could say hallelujah.
I kept pushing buttons and nothing was working.
Well, I'm glad you made it in. This
now.
is Libby Kelly from Melbourne, a good friend of ours. Libby would love you to share.
Okay, thanks so much, Bill. As Bill said, I'm Libby Kelly, and I have a background in nutrition, and I have MS. My symptoms started in my early 30s, and I was diagnosed about 10 years after that, close to 10 years, and I'm 66 now, so I've been dealing with this for half my life. And in the beginning, I looked for a nutrition solution, but I didn't find one until I was introduced to Relive, and that was in March of 2005. It's exciting to me that I've been on these products almost 10 years now. I had a lot of symptoms, and those included extreme fatigue, poor balance, I was falling frequently, I had vision disturbances, optical neuritis, where you can see peripherally, but not out of the center of your eye, of your vision. And that was very disconcerting. I had hand tremors, heat intolerance, that was a major symptom. I had painful skin sensations and pain in my feet. I had numbness in my feet and toes and just a general weakness. I had foot drop with any kind of physical exertion. And my bladder had developed problems. The functioning was not optimum. And I didn't have any stamina at all. All of these symptoms were becoming worse as the disease progressed. Probably the most notable one, though, was the loss of my sense of balance. And as the disease progressed, I was falling more and more frequently, and these falls would just come out of the blue. I wouldn't see them coming. I'd just find myself on the floor looking up. And my husband was secretly looking for ways to modify our home to accommodate a wheelchair because he felt that was the direction I was going in. So when I began taking Relive, I was using 2 medications for my MS symptoms. One of them was a powerful chemo drug. I had to inject myself weekly. And the other one was a skin patch type drug for the bladder symptoms. And there were debilitating side effects, especially from the injectable. And I would feel like I had the flu one day a week, the day after I took my shot. Sometimes it would extend into the second day, and I would never plan anything for that time period. I would just be on the couch all the time. I was exhausted. And the bladder drug had marginal side effects and marginal benefits. It was better than not using it, but it wasn't great. And I started taking Relove. I noticed improvement in the first month. Just with my renewed energy, I was sleeping better, and I developed stamina, which was really exciting to me. And after 2 to 3 months, my balance was restored. The falls just stopped happening. And that was probably the most significant result I've had. My vision improved after about 4 months, and I was able to stop wearing my contacts. And my bladder improved about the same time, too, and I was able to stop using that medication. I worked with my doctor to eliminate my meds, and he agreed to just observe me for a period of time. And at the end of about 8 months, I had an MRI done, and it showed that my brain lesions were showing improvement. And this was all without the drugs. It was just with Relove.
Awesome.
I've had to go on any medications since that time. And like I say, it's been almost 10 years. And just enjoying the benefits of Relove and feeling good. And my last checkup, which is a year ago, I'm due to see the neurologist this week. And at that time, he told me that there was a new classification, and that my status was considered benign. And so I don't have to do the MRIs every year now, and probably won't have to do another one for maybe another 9 years, at 10-year intervals instead of 1-year intervals. And I just feel good all the time. And I was telling you on the phone the other day, Bill, I have a new result. I had kind of a new problem. My cholesterol was just creeping up and up and up, and my triglycerides were quite high. And my doctor was concerned, and he was talking about those medications, and I didn't want to take any of it. So I decided to try the Cardio Essentials. My husband's been taking it for almost 10 years, and I thought, well, I'm going to try and see what happens. And in 3 months' time, my triglycerides dropped 100 points. And my cholesterol, the total cholesterol, dropped also. So I'm just really excited to see what these products will continue to do and how good I'm going to feel.
Well, that's a very powerful story. My goodness, you were heading for a wheelchair. I believe you had told me you were walking with a cane.
I was.
At that time. You mentioned you had tremors. What's happened to the tremors?
Oh, they're gone. Totally gone, yeah.
So your hands were shaking before Relove?
Right. If I try to lift a glass or a soda can, my hand would just shake, and the soda can would shake with it, and that's just gone, and I like I said, I just feel good all the time.
That's wonderful.
And I don't worry about falling anymore. And sometimes the fear of falling is almost as bad as the falls themselves, if you know anybody that's experienced that sort of thing. And I don't have to worry about it anymore. It's not uppermost in my mind, and it certainly was in the beginning.
Right. Well, that's powerful. So 10 years on Relove, and you're doing great.
I am doing great.
Libby, thank you. Thanks for coming on and sharing some of your story with us tonight.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Well, I have one more guest for you. Patty and I have come to know and love Denise and Norm Williams, just precious people. I have a real love for the Lord, a real love for others,